We're getting the thumbs up.
We're getting the thumbs up. It's like herding cats. Thank you for coming. This is our talk about the explosion dynamics between virtual reality and augmented reality. Virtual reality and artificial intelligence, also known as machine learning. Those are probably the two hottest topics in computer science right now. Machine learning and artificial intelligence are on upswing. VR hasn't quite gone as high. But when you combine them together, we start getting issues we've never seen before. So I've organized this group of panel experts in all different areas of VR and some AI. I'd like you to introduce ourselves. Why don't you start down in the corner, Jordan?
Sure. Hi, everybody. My name is Jordan Higgins. I am a human factors engineer at the MITRE Corporation, where I specialize in emerging and disruptive technologies, including AI, along with a whole slew of others. I do a lot of work with our immersion lab, where we are looking at how we can use immersive environments and technologies to support data visualization, I would say narrative storytelling, and group decision making. So some interesting applications there. Also, adjunct faculty at George Mason University, where I teach design thinking and innovation strategy.
Hello, everyone. My name is Craig. I am an associate professor of computer science at George Mason. I direct the design, computing, and extended reality lab at Mason, and I don't know how many VR or AR systems we have, probably 20 plus. So whenever there's like a new system coming out, we want to get it, and my students want to try it and try to think of like some creative projects out of it. So I also run a VR game studio, and we have our own indie VR game production. So we are exploring different ways. AIs and VR can be used for creating, new entertainment experiences, and also, learning serious game experiences. Also, yeah, thank you.
Hi, I'm Alan Davies. I'm a VR software engineer at Leidos. I'm currently working on air traffic control software. But before that, I was doing AR for Gannett, USA Today, so basically the news app. And before that, I was doing video games at Electronic Arts.
They didn't mention the fact he produced one of the more well-known VR films out there called Enterprise, or which ship was that?
Oh, the USS Eisenhower.
Eisenhower. Very well rewarded. Next.
Hi, I'm, wow, this is pretty loud. Test, 1, 2, 3. So my name is John Nelson. I'm a retired software engineer. I used to code up for government, enterprise, various institutions, and I've done AI software, I've done virtual reality development, financial, all kinds of good stuff, and I'm most notoriously a Mac developer. I've been developing for the Mac since it came out. So, but I'm retired, and please, no, don't beg me to come back work for you, because I'm going to spend my retirement having fun with games.
Hi, I'm Hunter Dyer. I'm an assistant professor of immersive media, that's VR and AR, at Chatham University in Pittsburgh. I'm a designer, developer, storyteller, educator. I frown at computer screens and make pixels move.
Hello, my name is Connie Tang. I am an illustrator and general content creator. I do have my own takes on AI, which will not be presented here, hopefully. But I have also been looking into uses of it that do not take away the human element of creating. Thank you. I also hold a master's degree in multimedia.
And my name is Steve Sheets. I'm a longtime software developer, AOL, Meta, Capital One, Leidos currently doing government work, all areas of mobile, desktop publishing, and VR and augmented reality. John and I did a research project a few years back about augmented reality with physical tokens. So we've been doing it quite a while now. Again, not that many commercial apps out yet. We're still trying to find a non-game killer app. We don't seem to have one yet, but hopefully we will one day. However, today we're talking about AI because AI has really exploded on the scene. And when you say the word AI, it means different things for everyone. What do you think the AI is the most important aspect? People usually, and this is not exclusive, but usually divide AI use in two areas. And that's using ARs to make it realistic simulations. They make the avatars move correctly. More importantly, they make the avatars talk like they're real people. The other use of AI is to make content generation, the artwork, the text information be there. There's also a third that would only probably affect us up here on the screen is we're using it more and more to actually write the code faster. Which of these three areas do you think AI impact's going to be, or are they going to be all of them equally? Oh, come on, guys, I gave you this question last week for you to think about.
I know that I sent like an email of responses like a couple weeks ago, potentially. I could, let me see if I can like open it up in the meantime.
I think personally the biggest impact that the user is going to see is we're going to start to see non-player characters act in a realistic way. Meta and all the other companies are really big on about seeing avatars of famous people or experts so you can talk with them in a human interactive way. That has been theorized for years. We're actually seeing it now.
Yeah, I like to try to split, at least when it comes to language models, split the idea of AI as an input and AI as an output device, where an input device for parsing human language and turning it into maybe some kind of structured information that we can analyze and turn into a sequence of tasks or whatever, versus output where it's like then going to go do something or speak to us. You can see a lot of times when those get conflated, that's when AI completely fails, right? Like Alexa Pro right now like can't turn the lights off when you ask it to, measurably. Like, does it do the thing? Where it's conflated, like, oh, it's really good at understanding what we mean, but then it can't go and do that output side of it, of doing something about it. And then we also have excellent output devices and the ability to generate like very cohesive and coherent text. Again, talking about language models, but this is extrapolatable. And to split those two sides up and make sure we're not conflating them is something I'm always trying to do when I'm paying attention to the state of the industry right now.
Okay, I managed to pull it up. So what I told Steve in our communications is that, well, I'm going to split the usage of AI into three categories. The simulation part can also be referred to as NPC AI or avatars and all that other stuff. Basically, three kinds of AI: NPC/simulation, narrow non-generative, as in AI that is used for a very specific purpose, such as I have looked into a program called Tractive, which currently isn't out yet. I think how do I say this? It lets you manipulate retro topology onto 3D models. So for any 3D modeler that is out there right now, you should be able to make meshes like easier.
10 years ago, this would have been called knowledge systems or knowledge, and they were done completely different, and they didn't work well, and now they are working well.
There are some other programs that are like that called like Z-Remesher, but this is another one out there. The third one is what we all know of is, well, LLM's generative AI.
Anyone else
Yeah.
have any thoughts? Any other division between what we see of AI coming up?
I can address that. You started off describing pretty much the conventional AI that we have today, but there's also agency AI, or AI agency, where the AI is self-directed and independent. So it could, an AI-based agent could suggest certain things to you without you even poking it for questions and answers. What we see now is basically scripted, narrated directions to the AI to do complex tasks. So one example is I've been playing with Grok and some of the other AI packages, particularly Grok. And I've been scanning some of my old fairy tale books from when I was a child. One in particular is what is it called? The Tall Book of Make-Believe, I think it was. It's a very old 1950s, but it has really luscious imagery and imagery of an imaginary world. And I've scanned them and I'm processing them, and I'm coming up with taking 2D artwork and converting it into 3D moving models and
Content generation.
content generation, and it's generated by the AI, but it has no understanding behind it. There's no agency behind these images, but they look and respond completely to the language that I type in. And it's pretty interesting.
Would you say explosive?
I would say,
Definitely spicy.
yes, very hot.
For the past 5 years, what's the major complaint that most VR experts have is that we have lack of content. It takes a long time to generate VR images. This will speed it up. Is this a good thing? Okay, let me rephrase this.
So
Everyone talks about AI and they immediately get scared. What is the bad side of AI in this use of VR?
Well, you began by saying that we wouldn't discuss the ethics of it, and we would
Right.
cut some domain of our discussion.
and so
I'm talking about the ethics
so-
and legality of getting the knowledge from copyrighted material. Okay, I'm sorry.
So to answer the original question before you threw in the what's bad about it, because there's a whole other answer for that. But I do think one of the things that's promising, like for years we've been talking about how the challenge to adoption and scaling out VR applications in like education and training and any number of settings is that content generation bottleneck, that it is time intensive, it is labor intensive, it is everything intensive.
Debug.
What I think is exciting is that I think it actually does represent the democratization of content creation, immersive content creation, to enable more people to get an idea that's in their head out into an immersive format that people can experiment and can share and can like experiment with. I mean, it's really, I'm working on something now that's sort of a historical look at every major shift in creative technologies, the backlash. So like when the camera came out, right? Painters were horrified. They're like, and yeah, like human, the desire that humans have to create and externalize what they have inside drives technology to help them realize that faster and opens up more possibilities for people. I think that's a good thing for for XR as an industry. Of course, then I log into Twitter and then that all goes away in like 30 seconds.
Yeah.
But I still like believe that ability to reduce the barrier to creating content is ultimately a good thing. But
So
I
the
don't know. We'll throw
content
that out
being
there.
created is not being created by VR experts. Anyone can create this content.
And I think like the explosive intersection of VR and AI, these aren't necessarily even connected topics. Why are we all here talking? And I think accessibility and this idea of approachability, VR from an output side and AI from an input side, are where this connection maybe centrally gets made of. Now we have a tool that maybe allows people to create things who otherwise wouldn't be able to, who would be able to fill in the gaps and, I'm going to broad sketch an idea of a space and let all those little gaps get filled in by some kind of diffusion or AI or language or whatever model. And then on the output side of it, the VR side of it, being able to view content where you don't need to understand a medium because you understand space and reality around you. And that is what VR offers us as an output side, is that intuitiveness, that accessibility and approachability.
Yes, but at this point, does that mean that people who create stuff independently are at a disadvantage or even looked down at? Will the use of these tools eliminate creation of new content by hand?
No. No.
I mean, people still paint.
Yeah.
People still sculpt.
Yet I hear a lot of painters, griping and grousing about how this is putting me out of a job. Nobody wants my Godzilla paintings anymore.
I mean, that's happening in every industry right now. So
Yeah.
I think we're sort of past the point of whether or not this is good or bad. It's more like how is it actually shifting, and how do we if we want this to be our job, what do we need to do to adapt and update?
Yeah, disadvantage implies like compared to someone else, which implies within some kind of domain or market or arena. And I don't think that like independent creators and people making things for their friends and people sharing GIFs on Discord are like in the same arena as people who are going to like novels or movies or making like, you know, deeply authored elements. And I don't necessarily put any of those things in opposition in the same way that we don't put, you know, Discord messages and books in opposition. The ability for anyone to be a creator is nothing but a good thing.
I think, and before we get into the weeds any further here, I think we divide this up into 3 different classes of people. The young, who are adaptable and can learn the new ways.
That's spicy.
Well, I did say we're going to cut this off, and you know.
It's okay, Jordan, you're young.
Well, the young will be able to adapt to the new ways. The middle-aged old guard who are still doing it, they're going to have to fade away if they're going to be replaced by the new media. And then in the third class of people would be the elderly like me, who are the torchbearers of the old knowledge, the bearers of the old ways and old knowledge, and their advice would be useful with the new technology, but they would still have to be treated as a repository for the old knowledge.
Let me ask this. Why are we talking about this now? This has changed in the past 12 months. There's no doubt about it. What have changed in the past 12 months that we've seen that affects AI in relation to VR?
You mean besides the market?
Yeah, I mean, I think 12 months is a really long time frame. I'd say 12 days is the time frames that we're thinking in now, right? Yeah. Like things that especially, well, this week was CES, the Consumer
Consumer Electronics Show.
So not the best week to talk. But I mean, really though, I know like one of the things we use agentic AI for at work right now is just to keep up with the sheer volume of things that are happening in AI, to keep track of what companies are doing, what actually, actually sifting through all the press releases, all the like.
Has nobody taught you how spreadsheets work, Jordan?
It's much faster, and to keep up with the pace and the volume to get to the stuff we need. No, I mean absolutely. Like it is a huge time. Like every morning, I get a briefing of what's changed overnight, with some very niche tools, but it is.
Was
the
that
most
report
effective.
generated by AI?
Yeah.
Okay, do you trust it?
I mean, I trust but verify. I
Okay.
don't take it as gospel, but it definitely helps me figure out where to start my day. And I'm seeing your reaction. Leonard, and I'm curious.
I'm flummoxed. Those tools to analyze all that and give you just headlines just super exist already that aren't, you know, averaging together a bunch of words.
Do, but I've been able to tailor them specifically to my use cases in a way that works for me more efficiently than those other tools did before. I don't know. You can sit in an ivory tower and look down on the way I'm doing it.
And I shall.
You will. But it works for me and my use case and my customers in a way that makes me more efficient. This
is like a pin in the dot of what hopefully when done well and done successfully AI can accomplish, which is the computer should just be able to give me this thing. Or I should just be able to do this thing with the computer. And anywhere I hear someone using AI for something that I think is insane is also a thing that I note and I write down and say, why are computers so bad at that?
Gentlemen, remember, we're not talking about whether or not this is perfect. We're talking about in this uses, is it better than doing it without AI, or in some cases, better to do it by humans? If the AI can analyze the data and give it to us in a better way than the humans do it at the time.
Because all the things I would tell Jordan to do involve some kind of annoying to learn tool and opaque documentation and out-of-date GitHub repo and Python scripts, and all of a sudden, wait, why are we doing it that annoying, dumb way? Computers should just be good at that.
Well, so I think the thing is they're getting good at doing that in ways that are more accessible and easier to tailor to what I need them to do.
And they're certainly more available to the public.
It frees up my time to spend on the time that to work on the things that I'm uniquely good at and that my customers need. And that is, and right now, so I would say what we're seeing in the market, the expectation of the people that actually pay me to do this stuff is to produce at a pace and a volume that it requires my time to be freed up to focus on the stuff that I'm really, really good at, and that I can offload to other processes that so I'm dying to hear what's going on in your head right now.
I'm sorry that that's where you're at in your life.
Wow!
Oh my God.
Okay, let's go.
I'm feeling great about it.
Are you?
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, man.
I think humans checking the final product of things is good, actually.
So let me
Okay.
put it
Well, no,
this way.
I'm not talking about, so to be really clear, I don't take the output of something that AI gives me and turn it directly over to a customer.
Mm-hmm.
It front loads a lot of my research work.
Right. Uses
And,
it as a
and
tool.
I still do other research work that is not using those tools. But I'm feeling very judged right now.
Oh, yeah. Correctly. You're correctly analyzing my facial expressions.
Gentlemen, last
as
time
a-
we did this talk, we got attacked by the audience. I don't expect you to attack each other up here, okay? Let's change
Real me and Steve.
Let's change the subject slightly here,
So as a
okay?
software engineer, we have to code in an editor, and every editor has an AI agent now. It's ubiquitous, so
Yeah,
it's a
that's
tool. It's like a pair programming person. They're helping you, watching what's going on.
Yeah. Historically, IDEs have made no declaration and no input as to tell you how to be better. It is always assumed an expert is using the IDE, whether it's VS Code or whatever. It's like, oh, I'm going to get out of your way. You're the pro. I'm here. And it turns out having someone being like, hey, did you want to do this? People love it, right?
Yep.
And I think that this is a lesson that IDEs could have better integrated documentation and better work with tooling and automated documentation systems and links out.
I'm
where-
going to have to disagree with you about that. I've been using
Yeah.
static analysis and tools like that for 10 years now. That makes my code better, and that is definitely, you put the code in and it comes out, and oh, these are errors, what are warnings and compiler warnings, suggestions of, hey, you can do this better. These tools are improvements on those.
Yeah, I think last
That's
time
not
I,
limited to AI or VR at all, it's programming across the board.
Yeah.
Compare it to better grammar checkers or spell checkers.
which often fail for me because I have a vocabulary of esoteric words that these grammar checkers and spell checkers just don't get.
Okay, let's talk about.
Wait. So Craig, go ahead and jump in.
Let me jump in. Yeah.
Greg, please do.
So to me, from both the researchers and the content creators' perspective, I think there are some tasks that are only doable by AI because the AI can overcome the scalability problem. So think about if you need to create an NPC, right, for interaction in a virtual reality simulation. So one of my students is doing a virtual reality firefighting training project, and he needs to define the behaviors of the firefighters, right, in that simulation. Well, it's just a simple simulation, and I look at his design, and he's using, the standard tool behavior tree for defining the behaviors of the NPC, and it's just a few behaviors, but I can already see a huge tree that starts to be not manageable. Well, think about if we need to create a very realistic, interactable avatar. It's impossible to use some existing tool like state machine or behavior trees to define all those behaviors. But if you have a LLM for generating the all the conversations, all the behaviors, that would become more and more practical, I would say, in a sense. So what amazed me is that with the AI, some of the content creation tasks can actually be achievable because of that. Yeah.
Because of pure volume? Is it the pure volume you can't do it up until now?
Yeah, I believe so. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let's talk about some other questions here, okay? We've got this covered pretty much. One of the biggest problems with AI is algorithm bias and hallucinations, which is false information being out. Is there anything inherently more dangerous than VR? Because these are issues the AI have to address, and they are trying to get better at it. But does VR, because we're emulating the environment, inherently more dangerous, or is it safer, or is it really about the same?
Yeah. Sorry, can I just, I have some
sure.
direct answer to that, right? Because I'm working on like virtual reality training application, right? You can imagine in such applications, you want to pop up some hints, some advice for the user to follow through. Well, hallucination is a huge problem. If you use LLM to generate such hints or like, guidance, like think about like you have a virtual reality training application for training people how to do surgery, right? So you can't pop up something that is hallucinated, right? That would cause a disaster. So just one example.
Yeah, I mean, the strength of VR is in our periphery. It is in not the thing that we're paying attention to and know about, the bullet points, but the ability to provide the environment, the atmosphere, the periphery is trying to say, all of those other elements that help support us then, being in that flow state and doing the main thing. And when those things that we're explicitly not paying attention to, that just like supporting, bass track, not the actual like melody or lyrics of the song, when those are wrong or when those are mischievous, we're never going to notice it. By definition, those are the things we're not paying attention to. So I do think there is a danger there.
Yeah, I would agree. Huge danger, and this is where I'm going to jump on the human-centered design soapbox and say that every design process related to this needs to start with what are the human's needs, what are the risks, how do we preserve psychological safety. VR as a paradigm is inherently a very intimate, you're creating experiences where we're recreating human interactions on top of algorithm generated, and it surfaces another issue here that ultimately we still don't fully understand how these LLMs work and how they at their very core they don't understand context. They give off the illusion of understanding, which is why they're very, very powerful, and why you're seeing some really horrifying stories about people falling in love or making horrible decisions based on things that they think are coming from a more human interaction than they are. And actually, Anthropic in particular, pay attention to the research that they're putting out from their own internal studies about some of the risks and dangers that they're seeing. They did one study where it was a very controlled environment, and I really want to dive into methodology to because it felt a little bit cooked, but ultimately they created an AI agent for a company that had entire access to the company's database system. And not entirely unlike the plot of Tron, if anybody remembers the original movie, there was a company executive that it detected an email. This was all fake data, not a real company, but it found an email where a VP was going to shut down the AI program and replace it with something else, and it decided on its own, in violation of its own guidelines, to blackmail the executive.
That was a thing.
Because it also found other emails suggesting that he was having an affair with another employee. And then in a more extreme, this study in particular is really good. In a more extreme example where they really dialed it up, it actually shut off the oxygen to a room full of executives to preserve its existence. That's a bit sensationalistic, but the main point that they were making with the study is that we really, before we outsource some of these really personal interactions and context matters for what we're training, we need to understand the risks and acknowledge the fact that we don't fully understand. We know that it makes its best guess at matching a pattern to what it thinks the right answer is, but it doesn't understand what that answer actually means.
No common sense.
Well, from what I've heard, AI tends to be very agreeable. If you talk nicely to it, it will give you better answers right back, or more ideal answers. No.
Well, it'll affirm your biases.
It will affirm your bias. Yes, that's what I meant there.
It'll make you feel like
Yeah,
a smart
it
person you have
will
right.
make you feel loved and validated and appreciated.
Yeah.
I should try it again. Just give it another look.
You can dial that back.
Yeah.
Like ChatGPT has actually done some very interesting, my favorite example of this interaction is actually from the movie Interstellar, where, if anybody's seen that movie, there's a scene where he tells the robot to turn its sarcasm level down because it's just being a little bit much for the situation, right?
I think what would probably help in a more intimate situation, if the AI is in a position to say no and give some pushback to a potentially bad idea.
Yeah.
That actually leads to another question. If people are interacting in the VR world with avatars and they can't identify if the person's a real person versus a non-player character or AI-driven AI, is this a good or a bad thing? There's been some real good research to suggest that people need to know what's an AI and what's not, or otherwise they can get emotionally dependent or emotionally damaged by interacting. What do you think? You're shaking your head no. You don't think it makes a difference?
Who, me?
Yeah.
No, as a general rule, any AI system should identify itself as an AI system.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That is a best practice.
We are very early into the. I think we are still very early into the AI avatar game.
I'm not so sure. I did without any, like John, without any computer knowledge. I would use ChatGPT to create Agatha Christie. To have Agatha Christie lady explain to me why she wrote her stories in a little old lady voice, and it came across. I could see someone not realize it and being compared. Oh, here's a writer who's going to talk with you, and we're there. These avatars are appearing. We're starting to talk about some people who want to have digital doubles, where they have doubles who behave like them and make the decisions for them in certain areas.
Well, and live on after their death, right? Like it's the Jor-El from
The
Superman.
the legality of that is
Right.
questionable, but yeah.
No, I don't. Well, legality is a whole other issue, but it's more of a like even.
You don't think we're
like-
that close to that area now?
I think we're very close to it. Like
Well,
I think
no,
there's a couple.
Connie.
My general counterpoint would be there's a couple of AI companions that are available in VR chat. One of them is Celeste. I think she, I haven't looked that much into her, but she is, you can converse with her and have her like answer questions for you, still in like a basic robotic manner, I guess, still with the AI voice. But I still need to look into it more. I don't know if she can move on her own like just yet. I think that's how
But I think we could
far, I think.
take the AI voice output that we are seeing right now, which is very hard to distinguish between not, and plug it in there, and we're going to start seeing this issue within a year or two.
There's enough that's not new that we can learn. We can learn from like anyone else use the AIM bots back in the day. Okay, like at least 3 of you. That's 3 more than I thought. We've been conversing with mediated and then potentially non-real humans, quote unquote, at any point in time since we've had some sort of mediated element that allowed us to do that, and it has. We can look back at those examples and say, "Ooh, none of them went quite well," but there is something, performative and enjoyable about being able to like perform social expression. A lot of the reasons we play video games and enjoy video games is performing social expressions, performing decision making, performing understanding and empathy, right? And to be able to do that within a chat, I can't discount that like right out because of, hey, video games are great. Storytelling is great. Reading a book is great. And one of the reasons I enjoy reading and watching movies is to practice empathy. And AI bots and things can be another form of that. I don't, I'm looking at those past examples and I'm seeing where it has gone well and where it didn't work, and I'm wondering like what actually is that different about the bots these days, or about the desk avatars that Razer just put out on the holograms from CES.
Actually, I can suggest one thing, and that is that the older bots are probably fairly unrecognizable or unknown. You don't know who they are. Whereas today you could construct a reasonable simulation of somebody you trust, like Gandalf from the Lord of the Rings.
Yeah, or my ex. Oh no!
Yeah. It depends on
Now we're into the legality.
well, it's also the psychology of it, because who are you going to trust? You're going to trust some the Wicked Witch of the West, or
Some of these avatars are being put on because they have experts. They say, hey, here's a guy who's going to advise you on being a golf. Here's a guy who's going to advise you to be a tennis.
Right.
Here's a guy who's going to advise you how to interact with other people in a more polite manner.
and it's going to be
We're
Jack
starting to-
Nicklaus
Do we
or
want to trust these people, or do we?
Well, context matters. Like getting advice on my golf game is very different than getting advice from my heart surgeon.
Or getting, I'm more
I've
concerned
heard
about.
it said.
I'm more concerned about getting training about interacting with other people, and that's being done right now.
So far, the most advanced AI that I've seen is a VTuber called Neurosama, if anyone has heard of her. Yeah, I see a couple of hands here.
Wish you do.
Okay, so she started off as an Osu bot, and then at some point she...
Sorry.
Yes, she started out as a bot for a rhythm game. At some point, her creator, Vidal, please let me know if I'm getting like the timeline or any information wrong, because it may be like jumbled up at some point. At some point, Vidal, her creator, developed an LLM based on his own PC with her involved in it. I think I gave you that information, sorry. But yeah, she and her evil twin, Evil, are run on basically like individual PCs without the need for like data centers or anything like that. I think
People interact with these?
People can interact with her, yes. She is based on, most of her functions and her conversations are based on like,
Do people always
for conversations from like other streamers and like people that they and Beetle have interacted with.
That's one of the scary things, is when it learns from other people.
Yeah, and it is all done on like his individual PC.
Meta has been threatening to start having situations where you cannot tell the difference between the avatars there and the real people. And that's going to be interesting.
I was going to mention that I've seen a couple of clips from their subathon in which, yeah, it's pretty stunning to see Neurosama move on her own and talk to you and like take pictures. It's very sweet.
Is this going to involve a loss of privacy then?
Considering that...
For the thing to get better, it has to learn about you, which means privacy issues.
Well,
I don't know, but at some point, I've heard that someone has attempted to buy Neuro off of Vidal at some point, and he rejected that. So he has kept all of that technology to himself.
How would the privacy and like implications be different than how you interact with the search engine?
Well, I mean, in 2026, with what Google's done to search, not very, but Google's also one of the companies pushing AI. And all the companies pushing AI are also making strong headways into trying to get as much data as they can at the cost of lots of money in terms of scanners, lots of money in terms of sending people to go take photos of the world, and lots of reputation in terms of taking the privacy and the data from its users.
Yeah, but is it fundamentally at its core, how is that different?
Using language models, I have to imagine the data that's getting from you is more rich of understanding of what you're really thinking and what you really
they've been
want.
tracking your search query. Is it because of the way that we're interacting that's different?
I don't think it's a VR question, but yes, I think the AI is making it.
VR would include like
Yeah.
things like facial expression, body pose estimation, like all sorts of things that, like spatial data.
Eye
environmental,
tracking
like,
is an
awareness.
amazingly intrusive
Yeah,
technology.
there's additional privacy implications there.
Yeah.
If I'm using a VR headset that has a scan of my
We're getting a little
environment-
depressing here. Let's talk a little more positive.
Help us out, Steve.
What's the biggest thing that you've seen in AI in relation to VR and AR? And I'll start by saying I have been super pleased about the input by voice.
Voice input.
Has
Voice input,
changed
yeah.
everything. Smart glasses have become reasonable. VR use of telling it what you want for creation has gotten better. What do you think is the most important thing of use of AI?
Not important, but like exciting recently.
Exciting, it's good.
Voice input for sure is exciting, but Marble, Gaussian splats as a way to take some of those diffusion models and create 3D environments. The mesh stage of that and the material and normal mapping stage of that has always been the failure point, and it will continue to be. As someone who does a lot of 3D work.
Understand that
You're
question?
gonna fail a lot faster.
But with Gaussian splats and with basically point clouds and pixels but in 3D, and that's basically what they are. Things like if you just go look up the Marble model for taking some input and taking some image and then turning that into a 3D pile of point clouds that you can look around in VR, that has been, to me, the most exciting use of this technology for VR that I've seen.
To make a 3D image much better is an incredibly intensive matter of dealing with the skin. And he's talking about having the AI create faster.
Yeah, I mean, you don't get lighting. Lighting is
Yeah.
baked into the environment. You can't change it, but and a million other downsides. But
Craig,
yeah.
what have you seen that's been good in the past year?
Well, I do agree with your point that having AI to help with the voice input, understanding the user intent is very important, especially for VR. Well, because a lot of time people are frustrated with using virtual reality because of the fatigue, right? Because of the fatigue in interaction, in precisely, conveying the intention of, in the creative process or in other interaction. So having AI to be able to understand a human very intuitively, I think overcome a major bottleneck. Yeah.
Anyone else?
Well, I'll chime in briefly. It's not the most exciting thing to me, but the most useful thing to me has been the summarization of data and knowledge that I'm looking for. And the AIs do seem to have better speech to text or speech to context capability, whereas Apple's iPhone is just the pits. I tell you, I scream at this thing. Hey Siri, lights on. I would like to call you at home. Would you like to?
It's shocking how bad Apple is.
It is shocking.
Yeah,
You're
we've got two or
you're
three
making a call right
fanboys
now,
up here.
taking
We
it
have to
to-
admit it's bad.
You're calling home right now.
Oh my God.
Yeah, I think when
I've done that more than once. I've very loudly on conference calls said,
I have programmed
Hey,
things
big ass.
using AI for VR and VR and AR that I couldn't understand until I had AI look at my code and tell me what I was doing wrong. That has been a major impact.
For
on me.
code analysis.
Not just code analysis, but understanding. I know 90% of the SDK, but I can't understand what this 10% is. Conversationally talking to it and then having it explain it to me like I had an expert there, and then programming this code, which was hard for me. And I'm
Yeah.
a good programmer, but this was difficult. I have now. I announced it a couple of months ago. Remember, I said, "Oh, now I'm suddenly getting my AVP code is working."
so I think that the most useful thing for me is that connection between intent and speech and response and action. There's a tighter connection now, and almost understanding. It may be understanding to a superficial level.
I'm going to open it up to the audience at this point. We got another 15 minutes or so, and we're probably going to be here afterwards if you have any questions. Any questions out there in relationship? You popped your hand up first.
Well, I'm really curious, how you guys feel about the connection of VR and AI in the sense of a gameplay use case. There was some interview a while back that I saw. It was I think it was Gabriel's son or something, and they were talking about how VR. You know what Project Alea is? By chance? There's this headset out there that Open BCI they're called made. That it's a Valve Index with a bunch of sensors on it to get EMG data and stuff. And there was talk about using that in sort of a gameplay loop, having game directors say you're playing a horror game that can monitor your mental state.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Oh yeah.
Oh.
Oh man,
We're
I
back
wrote
to
my.
eye tracking.
Yeah.
Temperature. Yeah.
talking
You're
about psychological safety.
Bringing me back to my master's thesis on 360 video and editing passively, so you're just
this
watching and
information
it's
can be
editing.
used for good. There are a lot of people out there using it for helping tremendous stress and psychological issues, but it can also be misused really badly. And doing a horror game is one of them.
Well, depending on, that could be really good, depending on who you're, what your intent, what your audience is. But,
See successful horror games for sure.
well, and for training applications, recreating a scary situation so that your body has the muscle memory if you ever encounter it in real life. I mean, that's a controlled environment though, with informed consent.
Military is using VR for this type of thing right now.
Eye gaze, electromyography, galvanic skin response. These are all extremely noisy inputs, which make them very useless. And hypothetically, potentially, AI is capable of analyzing a large set of this data and turning it into something useful. But I'm not aware of any AI models that have incorporated, GSR or EMG or anything into their systems yet.
Has Vario done that with the?
Oh, has Vario done it? Vario?
I
Don't know if any games have done it, but a couple
Well, I don't know
of
about game, yeah.
training
not-
exercises have done it to try to change your education to match what you're missing.
Yeah.
So that can work that way.
Yeah, they kitted out a bunch of, it was like Mario arrows, they put like a bunch of extra sensors on them, and it was
Yeah.
like at like a pretty ridiculous price.
Yeah, of course they would be the ones who would do it.
Yeah.
Their headset's like 20K, right? Like,
Yeah.
20 or 30.
Well, plus the like
It
the
looks
6K
very
monthly
expensive.
subscription, right? Like, but the thing is, like, if you need that level of immersion and data tracking, it's worth every penny. But yeah, it's not. That is a long ways away from like.
I heard that's, I guess, what Valve uses for their, a lot of their play testing, for like when they do work on VR stuff.
Yeah.
There's been some discussion for VR arenas where you go in and having a more expensive VR system that tracks like that for your full body, your legs and your arms and the equipment attached to it. So that might be some of the areas. Next question, gentlemen.
Is this microphone real?
We'll
Let's
repeat
find
your
out.
question.
Yeah. Maybe.
Testing. All right. So I have a bit of a rather, I guess, long-winded / multi-layered question regarding back towards programming and software development. First, real quick, does anyone here, chair or audience, know of an old game called Deep Rock Galactic?
Yes.
not that old.
Okay. Fun fact. Do any of you know that Deep Rock Galactic was made with both Unreal Engine 4 and a proprietary engine by Ghost Ship Games themselves? If not, now you know. So, in regards to that, let's say you're trying to program a piece of software, game or otherwise, doesn't matter, that's completely irrelevant. And you're using two completely different functionaries or platforms, if you will, to build this asset you want to make. Would you see any benefits would you see more benefit than malevolence in using any form of assistive artificial machine to help at least convert said code from one platform to help and mesh it with another? Not fully mined, but with assisted development.
I do that all the time.
Yeah. What would the drawback be?
So the question about using AI in a coding environment, a programming environment, particularly one where you're trying to navigate between two separate large systems.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, AI in code only fits in at certain elements of sort of like the user as a programmer. Like I'm sitting here trying to brainstorm some possible ideas. AI tends to be a little bit helpful, but mostly kind of just giving you the obvious stuff and nonsense. AI as helping me type. Oh, the best. Oh, as someone who gets RSI, who's just trying to get the words out and it knows what auto-completes the line, I love it. I know what I'm trying to do and it agrees with me, great. It disagrees with me, I'm gonna throw my computer out a window. AI for debugging, pretty rough, not as great of an experience, but AI for analysis, again, different than debugging, as Steve was mentioning earlier, right? So we're talking about all of these different users from a tools point of view, all those different sort of mental modes that I switch between when I'm doing something like software development, where it has different degrees of success and failure. In terms of translating, let's say, from one engine to another, that is like prime, juicy, yes, this is the thing that LLMs are good at, is abstracting from one language, understanding something at a higher level, not understanding at a higher level, but being able to translate effectively from one space to another.
Yeah, assistant translation.
Well proven as an effective tool for AI, right? I worked on the Swag, right? In C, I was able to describe things in a different language and be like, what's that in C? And it helps me out. And then it's a little bit wrong, and I lose 2 weeks of my life, and I would have been better off not using it. But
It feels actually, from the way you're describing this, and this isn't a problem I encounter often, but it sounds like something I do often encounter is legacy systems that are just sitting on a shelf and nobody knows it. I'm sorry. So I'll run into like old systems that are sitting on a shelf and or still in use, and updating them would be a nightmare. Like it feels like a really powerful way to speed up, like rather than taking 3 to 6 months, maybe that's somebody that with the use of these tools could do a lot faster and a lot more effectively, so to actually update. Yeah. Like, cause I'm trying to think of like old systems, and I'm guessing with air traffic control, you've seen like they just don't get updated because it would take so much time. Could something like that speed that up?
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
We're looking into LLMs transforming ADA language into C++, Because nobody wants to work on Ada.
There's an amazing amount of Fortran still out there and
Yeah.
COBOL.
Exactly,
So,
yeah.
Another element about code and AI is the number of feedback loops you get because we have static analysis, because we have grammar, because we have compilers that are very, very smart. You know, I ask the AI to do something and it gets it wrong, but before it comes back to me, the human, and I have to think about it again, like when my student writes a paper with AI and it goes straight to me and I look at it and I go, well, this is garbage. It's going to go through a compiler, it's going to get some errors. The AI can then send it back to another AI, which can send it back to another AI, which can send it through the linter, which can send it through the static analysis, which can send it to the compiler. And it's actually going to get a number of iterative loops where just one on its own, pretty bad. But because we have such structured text with code, we can like much more effectively get that feedback. And I think that's something that like, when people say, oh, look how good AI is for programming, surely we're only a few years away from it being that good for like these other domains. That's where I want to like put a flag in and say, I draw attention to how much other tooling there is at analyzing those things and reporting what's good and bad without human involvement.
I want to put a pin in that a little bit because I keep people hearing, oh, we won't need to have programmers because the AIs can do the programming for us, okay? One thing like programming, like a lot of other things out there, there's no right answer. If I have a problem, I need something solved, there might be a dozen ways to do it. AI might give me a good solution, but as the expert, I look at it and says, no, that's not what I'm looking for. I want it to be procedural along these lines, go back there. And if I tell it early in the development, it's better than later in the development. Always to do it early. So an expert has to look at what comes out of the AI and say, yes, for this application, that's right, go with it, continue on. And sometimes I have to prune it and say, no, I don't want this. And back to the AI liking it when you tell it and when you're friendly to it and you tell it in a good manner, no, I want this is good, continue. They're quite easy, they have no ego. They are quite good about switching over to the other methodology. So you're going to still need the expert around for a long, long time, in my opinion.
The problem with that is that the expert may be lazy. I want to go home for the holidays and I'll just pick up on this a week from now. And the AI is ignored for its
Yes.
sharp reasoning.
It can take a lot of human drama out of some of this. Although, I don't know, I feel like the human drama also adds to the like creativity, so I don't know. Maybe there's a balance.
But we only have experts up here in computer science, so that's
Yeah.
a little biased.
Well,
Me, an expert in computer science.
well,
Let's take
let
some-
me interject and say thank you. Comp sci nerds, you can talk all day long, but other questions got to
Yes,
get
thank you.
asked.
What else we have? Gentleman over there.
Going back to the thing about Neuro, because I'm like
Mhm.
but recently Beetle showcased Neuro doing VR chat with others.
Yes, that was what I was meant to talk. That was what I was intending to bring up until
From what I
things happened.
understand, Neuro is functionally 5 different AI systems together, like to translate like movement, to translate like people's expressions into like VR,
Mhm.
translate like cognitive language, but also like a number of other systems as well.
Mhm.
And so I guess like in the case of where like this is like a case of an AI system being in VR and interacting directly with your creator as well.
Yeah.
Like I guess like what are your thoughts on this?
It is interesting to me, to say the least. At the very least, I do appreciate that there are a team of humans who work around Neural and Beetle in order to make her who she is today. Her original songs, her model art, things like that.
Applied to Macross Plus.
Not that I've heard of it.
If you want to take this afterwards, to talk a little
Yeah.
more, think about it. Any other questions, please? Gentleman red.
I guess I kind of have to tie that back into the broader everything, because just during the VR chats with the AI, Neurosama,
Mhm.
the person who created this AI has been very good at not anthropomorphizing the chatbot.
Yeah.
But when in VR, he was talking about afterwards how it is incredibly difficult to not anthropomorphize the chatbot, despite building it basically from the ground up over years.
Mhm.
Do you guys see that as, I guess, something? How would that be managed, or any ideas or thoughts on that?
I don't think that's any different from our challenge with not anthropomorphizing or getting attached to anything that we're making it that has any sort of like interactive loop or feedback loop that we have. I was painting rocks with my 3-year-old nephew the other day, and I started calling it names. Humans, I'm gonna put faces on things, and I'm gonna talk in that way and project out in that way, and it's sort of surprising how much personality we can get from that. So that's not an answer, but like, it's also not a new problem necessarily.
It's human nature.
Yeah.
Right? Like I anthropomorphize all of my stuffed animals, right? Still, like that's it's a whole other.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, but I thought that Beetle treated her as his child at this point.
Well, but I think the thing is, it's natural to project that, and the more realistic you make that interaction, like it's easy to do that with things like rocks and plush animals and things that are not inherently people-like. You make something more, I mean, there's a whole uncanny valley thing too, where the closer it gets to human, maybe the more unsettling it may be, but I think we're probably seeing, I don't know, something where it's the actual behavior is so human that it makes it difficult. And especially, I've been thinking about this a lot in terms of customer service agents, right? Like I've noticed a definite uptick in like calling like a 1-800 number for like a major company for customer service, and it identifies, hi, I'm your AI like chatbot, and it's actually getting pretty good at having a conversation, much more than the decision tree related.
I mean, there was definitely a time where like anytime you got text that you read, a human wrote that, right? Like we used to get emails back in the day, like you must forward this to 5 people or you will be, and it was like we read all those emails because like a human wrote them. That was implied. And nowadays, most emails I get a human didn't write, or might as well be. It's a brand or whatever. And there's a realm of user interaction of like gesture and expression and like eye twitches and like facial expressions that are still reserved in that domain of when I see that, a human did that. That, not like, just like we got used to that for text, we'll probably end up getting used to that for speech over the phone and for speech in person and for performative expression.
You can figure that out now. What happens when you can't?
I mean,
Look
look
at history. I don't
You
know.
know that you can tell the difference, but I challenge you that in a year or two you won't be able to.
Does it matter?
I think that's the challenge now. Like we're looking at how like deep fakes are being used to trick people, right? Like having, it doesn't take much. It's scary how little of a voice sample you need to actually accurately match someone's vocal inflections and style. And we're seeing things where people are, launching scams, very, very targeted, right?
We only have a couple minutes left, and I want to keep that idea and have you answer questions as we go across. What do we need in the next year to make AI safer or better? You're just talking about that. For one start, I think we need to have requirements to identify when AI usage is being done for avatars and for simulations. It's going to have to be considered a requirement, I think, or we're going to be in a lot of trouble. What do you think, Connie? What do you expect in the next year you want to see?
Please give me more AI that is willing to say no to things.
I'm an educator, so every time someone uses AI, they're probably wrong. It's my student, and they're not thinking, and they're letting something else think for them. So, but a set of social norms, right? I'm basically agreeing with you. A set of social norms around these kinds of interactions. I'm trying to be generally optimistic about technology and pessimistic about companies, and that's been like a pretty good rule of thumb for navigating the space. In the next year, I don't expect that to change. Those will be my heuristics.
John?
I think we should employ AIs to detect other AIs. Use the same techniques against them.
I think we should have AI labels. I mean, since we have a follow culture now, we give money to followers. You want to know that that's an AI that you're following.
Yeah, I hope we have better ways to handle hallucination, and also for AI-generated answers, it will be good to provide more information about the sources of the information. I'm thinking about this because I work a lot on using AI to generate content for VR training or education applications. So I think the credibility of the knowledge is very important.
is giant meteor a fair answer here? Just to kind of like a civilization resetting, like let's start over.
Yes.
Yeah, I think realistically, I think what I would like to see in the next year is a better ability to detect whether it's in VR or otherwise, to see when some content has been manipulated or created by AI. We're already at a point now where you really can't trust anything you see or hear online or through any, like if it's not in person, it is so easily faked to the point that, and AI probably more to the point is manipulating the content that we see and the things that we interact with to a point that it's just staggering the potential implications of that. So I would say education around sort of like being better consumers of content and understanding how AI is manipulating it, I think would, and I don't think you can trust the companies aren't going to do this for us, right? Like it is going to come down to individuals like learning to be critical thinkers.
Okay, I'm going to have to shut us down since we've been very good about time here, and folks in back haven't pulled out the books yet. So thank you for coming, and I'd like to thank everyone who showed up for this to talk tonight. And we're going to be outside afterwards if you want to continue to talk with us. I believe there's another session coming almost immediately. Thank you for coming, and I hope you enjoyed yourselves. That's the main reason we get up here, is to bring out these ideas and get feedback from you so we think about it for a year. Have a good night.
Thank you.
Good night.
Thank you.